Yeah, let's get it going on a Wednesday. Here we go, everybody. Ben Fletcher with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. It is the Fletch Zone. We got Big Marsh on the mic, back at it in the producer's booth today. Big Marsh, how we doing?
It's another great day to have a great day in America's finest city.
God, I love the way Marshall talks when he says stuff like that. Sammy Long will be back tomorrow. Coming up today on Long Shots, which is generally Sammy's segment. Marshall's been taking it over. We actually got a listener jumping in for long shots because we haven't had a winner in a while, and our buddy Tyler has been killing it on Prize Picks over the last few weeks. So let's get right into it. Padres with an extra innings victory last night. We got a head coach in the NFL getting bloody and bruised in a training camp fight. The Mouse has gone all in on the NFL. We got a couple guests coming up on the show today. Mark Williard, who you might remember from, well, this time slot on this station about 5 years ago. Mark Willard's going to jump on, talk some NFL. And then Jim Wexell in hour number 2 is going to be talking some Steelers at 1:30 today. Jim Wexell has written books on the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has been a writer on the beat of the Pittsburgh Steelers for decades now. Jim Wexell is the absolute man. He's going to jump on at 1:30, talk about one of the more fascinating teams in the NFL heading into the year, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And about 10 minutes from right now, if you missed it, Colin Cowherd did about a 25-minute interview with Philip Rivers, San Diego legend. And so we're going to play back some of that interview in about 10 minutes, some clips from Philip Rivers that I thought were just true to form, number 17, man. And we'll leave those out there around 12:15 today. But we're going to start with the Padres because last night was a fascinating game. Last night had a couple of moments where it looked like it wasn't going to go the Padres' way. Had plenty of moments, especially when Ramon Laureano was up at bat. That seemed like the game was definitely going to end up going the Padres' way, and ultimately it did. It took 11 innings. It took a blown lead in the 9th inning by new Padres closer, setup man, whatever Mason Miller actually is. He gave up a home run on a pitch that was 104 miles per hour, which I didn't even know was possible. But he gives up that home run. Game gets tied up, goes into extras, and then something weird happened in the 11th inning. Fernando Tatis Jr. is sitting on second base to start off the 11th inning. And the Padres offense just looked easy. It looked effortless. Guys were just coming up, and you knew before the at-bat, this ball's going in play, more runs are going to score. They score 5 runs in the inning, in the 11th, and go on to win pretty easily, and Suarez actually ends up getting the win. But why is it that sometimes you look at the Padres offense, and you're like, oh, it just flows, and it's easy, and I know Arizona has a crappy bullpen, but I do feel like that 11th inning Padres is the Padres we should see more often. They are paying a boatload of money to this lineup for it to look a little bit easier. Why in the world is every single game feel like you're pulling teeth? Why is every game so close? This Padres lineup should be doing this more often. I had a blast watching that 11th inning, man. And I feel like at times this season you have a blast watching the Padres offense. It just doesn't happen nearly as often as it should. So who am I to complain about a 5-run win like they got last night? Well, I think a lot of Padre fans feel the same way. I don't know, Marsh, to you, didn't it seem like it was just so easy?
Well, it looks like they came together like Voltron, and it took all the pieces they have, the chemistry. I mean, they're really setting the tone for that long stretch to end the season and into the playoffs.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully we get more of those nights like that last night, or at least the 11th inning. The rest of the game, look, it was good. Laureano has fit right in with the San Diego Padres. He's hitting at an unreal clip since joining the team. 3 more ribbies last night, a triple, a double. He was awesome last night. He had a drop in the outfield that was a little embarrassing, but you'll take that if you have a bat that's working as well as his is working. And he's a lot of fun to watch. And I love the fact that after every game, if he has a big moment, he's posting that on social media immediately. He is making sure he is flexing out there. Actually reminds me a lot of Big Marsh, who every time you're doing anything, we're seeing it on social media. I love that Laureano's doing it. I don't know why more pro athletes don't. It's like Bryson DeChambeau figured it out and changed the entire narrative about his career in golf. He was considered a douchebag when he was first starting out, and now it's Bryson DeChambeau's lovable. Like, if he can do that, anyone can. You have the best videographers in the world at your disposal on a daily basis. You might as well start using some of it, and I'm glad that Laureano does, and it looks cool. I'm not worried about Mason Miller is one of the notes that I took away from last night. It seems like an easy fix for me. Every time the bat touches the ball, it's because he leaves his fastball too high up in the zone. It's like if you throw 104 miles an hour, which he is hitting consistently. In fact, that home run last night was, I think, the fastest pitch since StatCast has been around that someone has hit a home run on. Mason Miller is going to be fine. They just need to get him lower in the zone. I think it's probably impossible to hit a home run on a ball that's around the knees going 104 miles per hour. So it seems like just an easy tweak. And Ruben Niebla is one of the best pitching coaches in the game. He should get him figured out. What I am worried about is what I'm seeing on social media regarding Fernando Tatis Jr. Because Fernando Tatis Jr., while yes, it has been a down year for him, similarly to Mason Miller, I think it's a pretty easy fix. And I think it's just a little tweak. He's not hitting the ball well, but he's still impacting the game. He was the runner on second in the 11th inning, and I don't think there's another Padre on the team that makes it home on Luis Ariza's little blooper out into left field. So Fernando Tatis Jr., who the Padres are going to need if they want to get to where they want to go to play like Fernando Tatis Jr., I think a little patience might be on the side for the Padres fans here. And I know it's like the people who are being paid the most need to play the best, and that's true. Fernando needs to play better, but I'm not ready, like some fans I've seen online saying, move him down in the lineup or hell, ship this guy out of town I've seen over the last 24 hours. Fernando's going to be fine, but he needs to get fined sooner rather than later.
He still has that eye of the tiger, and we definitely don't need to give him everyone stand up for Fernando, give him a round of applause when he's struggling. Let's just, have him thug it out and keep playing and watch all the good stuff roll.
Yeah, he needs to find that swagger. I think he's lost it a little bit, and once he gets it, he'll be fine. I think Fernando is due for a couple of big months, and I'm hoping that's what he gets. Look, there's not much to complain about after a 5-run win, and I think I've done all the complaining I need to do about that. We got the big three coming up in just a minute. Phillip Rivers sound coming up in 6 or 7 minutes from right now. Mark Williard coming up in 20 minutes. We got a big show to get to. Big Marshall, let's start this thing off right. Go ahead and smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Our internet was not working yesterday at all in the building, so that's why we didn't have a stream yesterday. But we are back up today. So on X, at Fletch and Sammy, you find us there. On YouTube, at San Diego Sports 760, you can find us there. We'd love a subscription. We'd love a follow. And you can see my baby face because, yes, I did shave my beard recently. Big Marsh, where are we starting with the big three in hour number one?
So for the big three, Stafford's back injury for the Rams. Concerned?
Yeah, big time. He's got an aggravated disc in his back, and now that can mean a lot of different things. I'm not going to play doctor here on the show, but Matthew Stafford, this is problematic. Hasn't been practicing in weeks. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, and with this report that he has an aggravated disc in his back, who knows what that actually means for a guy who's definitely on the twilight of his career. This is concerning if you are a Los Angeles Rams fan or if you are someone who's put money on the Rams, like some people have them as dark horse Super Bowl contenders this year. If Matthew Stafford isn't involved and you're relying on Jimmy Garoppolo, this Rams team ain't very good. Matthew Stafford's one of the best quarterbacks alive, and I mean that. He's one of the smartest quarterbacks alive. If Matthew Stafford is not involved, this Rams team becomes really, really average, and I would be worried if I was a Rams fan right now. I know Sean McVay's out there saying he is probably going to be ready for week one. Do you really trust probablys in the NFL? I don't, especially for a guy who has the injury history that Matthew Stafford has. This is concerning. This is red flag alert for the Los Angeles Rams. I'm curious to see how this plays out. We got another one, Marsh?
Yes, we do. Shedeur Sanders will be starting the first preseason game for the Browns this year.
He is the most confusing person in the NFL right now. And I actually really like what Shedeur Sanders has done since he's been drafted. But the reporting on him is bizarre because you hear from people who cover the Browns really closely, like a Mary Kay Cabot, who's been in Cleveland for, I want to say, a decade plus now, who's nails as a reporter. And she says Shedeur Sanders looks like the best quarterback in training camp right now. When they talk about Dylan Gabriel, it's like he doesn't know what he's doing as an NFL quarterback. Shedeur Sanders at least looks like he's playing the part. The Cleveland Browns are bizarre to me right now. Like even bringing in Tyler Huntley to be part of that quarterback room, I don't really get. I would still go with Joe Flacco to start week one. Let Shedeur continue to marinate. I would trade Dylan Gabriel. I don't know why he's even there. It doesn't make sense. And you got Shedeur Sanders as late as you got him in the draft. Right now, just think of that as a bonus because he's not going to be making money for 4 years.
And the Panthers are playing most of their starters for the first part of the first quarter, so it should be a good test for Shedeur.
I'm excited to see it. I really am. If there's one preseason game that means something this week, it is the Cleveland Browns. So watch that one if you're going to watch one. We got one more.
And last but certainly not least, ESPN and NFL are partnering up as well as the WWE for premium live events. Any thoughts? And I hope Stephen A is not on the red zone.
Me too, man. Look, I did read into this morning because I'm curious. Because like you, Marshall, I care about NFL red zone. That's really all I care about with this whole merger. I saw that the NFL now owns 10% of ESPN. and people are making a big deal out of that. Mike Florio specifically is saying make sure every news article you get out of ESPN regarding the NFL, you take it with a grain of salt now because the NFL is now the boss of ESPN. Sure, fine, whatever. Watch the games, make your own opinions. That's what I try to do. But where this becomes newsworthy for me in my personal life, and I think a lot of our fans, is the NFL Red Zone channel. For a decade plus, 15 years or so, Scott Hansen has opened it up the same way every single time. He's opened it up by saying 7 hours of commercial-free football starts now.
The greatest.
Is it still going to be commercial-free?
The greatest. I think
that's all I care about.
Is a big ploy by ESPN to possibly get a Super Bowl because the Super Bowls are always on CBS, NBC, ABC, or NBC as well, or Fox. So now ESPN might be in the running to have their own Super Bowl.
That's a great point, and one that I hadn't thought of yet. And yeah, I would imagine that's coming down the line. Now it does look like NFL Plus, which is what I subscribe to. It's $15 a month during the NFL season. Is still going to have Red Zone. We don't know if it's going to be separate Red Zone anchors for whatever's airing on ESPN. We don't know where their ads are going to be. If it's going to be every 45 seconds, we're interrupted by DraftKings or something. But Red Zone is going to change. And my whole thinking on that is if it's not broken, don't fix it. We don't know what money exchanged hands. Obviously, the NFL owning 10% of ESPN, that's a big deal. It's probably a big windfall for the NFL. But this is showing, like you said, Marshall, the mouse is now invested in football in a big, big way, more so than it already was. And maybe there is a Super Bowl coming. Who's even going to broadcast that? I don't know.
I saw a lot of backlash on Twitter that everyone was like, please do not ruin NFL Network, ESPN. Please do not ruin the Red Zone channel. Leave Scott Hansen alone. We don't want anyone else. We don't want Perkins, Stephen A., anyone. Leave them alone.
Yeah, this station has had a really good relationship with NFL Network, and I want to know if that changes things. Like Cynthia Freeland jumps on with John and Jim all the time. For years, I'll have Charles Davis on, and I wonder if that changes things because the NFL Network has always been great. It's been the easiest of these big conglomerates to work with outside of like Fox Sports Radio, who we obviously have a great relationship because we air so much of their stuff. They've been easy. You hear Jason McIntyre on the station all the time, but the NFL Network has always had such a smooth operation. I will say I have not had that experience with ESPN. Quite the opposite, actually. So I'm curious to see what this does because ESPN is immediately taking control of NFL Network and NFL Red Zone, and I can only see that going poorly. I want to be an optimist about it, but as of right now, I only see it going poorly, and that sucks. So on that happy note, we got some Philip Rivers sound coming up next. He was on with Colin Cowherd. It was about a 20-minute interview. I thought it was incredible. I wonder what Philip is doing, getting all involved with the media recently. I wonder if he is trying to make a push to potentially join the media at some capacity, or if he's just chatting with a buddy named Colin Cowherd. You'll hear some of that interview coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. The iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Bryan Adams, Ed Sheeran, Mariah Carey, Maroon 5, Sammy Hagar, The Offspring, Tim McGraw, many, many more. September 19th and 20th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Get your tickets now at AXS.com. Make sure to get them now before they sell out. And while the world is listening on the free iHeartRadio app, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday for you to win your trip for 2 plus $1,000 spending money. Next chance to text and win happens at 1 o'clock on San Diego Sports 760. Get all the info at sportssd.com/festival. Big Marsh on the mic. I did not know that I could jinx a no-hitter just by saying something off the air. Gavin Williams with the Cleveland Guardians just gave up his first hit of the day. And guess what it was? It was a home run from Juan Soto in the 9th inning. Jeez, man. I said something about it during the commercial break. And as I was saying, I was like, crap, dude, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Jake Meister.
But Gavin Williams just had a no-hitter going into the 9th inning. He's at like 115 pitches, and Juan Soto just took him deep to end the no-hit bid. That sucks, dude. Oh, we don't get many of those every year. And every time I see one, I love it. No-hitters are one of the coolest moments in sports when you see the entire dugout come out and crash the field, but Soto literally just hit a bomb to break up a no-hitter.
So quick history, when the Padres, Musgrove did the no-hitter for San Diego.
I still have that newspaper headline.
So this was in, I believe, 21, and we were playing spring football, high school football coming out of COVID, and I'm announcing at Sarah High School, and we're watching it, and I just put on the PA, oh my gosh, the Padres finally got a no-hitter for the first time in history, and the whole crowd, both stands went crazy.
That was an incredible day. I was sitting right where you are when that was happening. It was a day game. It was in Texas too, I believe. And yeah, I still have that San Diego Union Tribune, the whole front page with Joe Musgrove on it. It's sitting on my desk back at home. But Juan Soto just ruined a no-hitter. What a jerk. But is he staying out there at 115 pitches? That's crazy. Gavin Williams, congratulations on your almost no-no, even though that counts for exactly nothing. All right, we got Mark Williard coming up in 9 minutes, so let's try to squeeze this in right now. Phillip Rivers was on with Colin Cowherd a little bit earlier today, and look, I listened for the whole thing. Honestly, if I'm being completely transparent, I wanted him to say something about San Diego and the move to LA. I wanted Colin to ask him something about that. He didn't, and that's fine. It's absolutely fine. I just thinking in my brain, how good would that be for a San Diego sports show to get Phillip Rivers, who really doesn't talk publicly about it much, to say something about it? And that's not what happened. But while listening to the interview, what we did hear from Phillip Rivers was 2 of the most Phillip Rivers worthy sound clips I've ever heard in my life. And the first one was Colin asking Phillip about the philosophy of just being a quarterback. What kind of work goes into it? Let's listen from number 17 himself.
But I think you better grow to love it, to love the process, especially playing this position. You know, if you want to be great, and maybe I didn't get to great, but I know I was pretty dang good for a long time, and I don't think you can get there if you just think you're going to, show up and go out there and play for 3.5 hours on a Sunday afternoon. And so the process of every day and the chance to be on the grass with your buddies practicing football, and sitting in a meeting room and figuring out, Spags' blitz patterns and Rex Ryan's blitz patterns and all these, and like figuring out how we're going to get this thing picked up to throw a touchdown to Antonio Gates. I mean, that's a blast. Or even a 3rd down conversion versus Zimmer's, a double mug scheme. I mean, those things were so fun to work on all week. And then when it came to in the game, there were some of the most gratifying plays on a Sunday afternoon were the ones the fans didn't even realize, but it was the behind the scenes preparations, and it's the Saturday morning walkthroughs, the bus rides, all those things that lead up to the game. I certainly love to play. I loved the games and running out of the tunnel and all those things that I used to ask my mom and dad, hey, introduce me. I'm coming out and we're playing whoever, and they would introduce me and I'd come running out down the hall, getting introduced. So I love that part. I'll be clear on that. But it was the process that made that part so special. And so, but I just don't know how you play quarterback and aren't all in on the process if you're trying to be, one of the best.
That made me start thinking about the quarterbacks of today. And if anyone actually has that mentality, and I think there are a few, I really do. I think Patrick Mahomes has that mentality. I think he is always trying to get better. And that's why he's as good as he is. I think Lamar Jackson absolutely has it. And notice I'm talking about the top quarterbacks in the league. Josh Allen absolutely has it. They have that willingness to fight, and they get to the microphone and they sound like all they care about is winning the next football game and trying to get better every single time. I don't think they make them like Phillip Rivers anymore. Maybe Gunnar Rivers is going to be that guy. He spent a lot of the interview talking about Gunnar and the talent that he has and how the future for Gunnar might even be better than it was for Phillip. But I don't really know that they've ever had another quarterback who cared as much as Phillip Rivers. And that's kind of what he talked about at the end of the interview. Colin asked him, he talked about how tough Phillip was and how the streak that he had playing in consecutive starts, playing through injuries, all of that. And Phillip was earning on. He was being very humble about it, or at least trying to be. But finally, Phillip Rivers got to the mic and he said what we all wanted to hear. Let's take a listen.
One of my favorite records was Brett Favre's start streak. And I remember watching that going, man, he's played how many in a row? Man, he's going to get to 300. And I remember just saying, again, this is just as a competitor, I'm going to chase Brett Favre's record. I'm going to get there. And I didn't play those first 2 years as I sat behind Drew. And I realized ultimately I couldn't get there, but by golly, I was going to find a way to be second, and suit up and be out there if I could every week for our team. And I do think there's the best ability, as Chuck Amato told us, the best ability is dependability. And that was one thing I was going to be. I was going to be out there. I was going to be out there every week. And give it my all. And shoot, I know we fell short plenty of times, but they knew they could count on 17, get them everything they had for those 240 in a row.
That's authenticity, man. I don't know if Phillip Rivers is trying to get a job with Fox. It's maybe the Sean Payton did that strategy. He would go on calling a few times, and then all of a sudden Sean Payton was in NFL studios getting ready for games and stuff. Phillip Rivers would be amazing at it, first and foremost. I don't know if he wants to do the travel. I don't know if he wants to spend that much time away from his family. But if there was ever a person who would be better at that than just about anyone, Phillip Rivers would certainly be that guy. So we'll see. 949, text the show. And if you want to text the show, you can. 70470. Start your message with team. 949 saying, wow, Fletch advertising smut on a sports radio show is crazy. But for real, everyone should go read Akatar and Fourth Wing. Yeah, Audible. We love Audible, man. They're sponsoring some of our update reads, and Audible is talking about their romantasy series. I will say Akatar is the series of books that my wife is reading, and she reads via headphones. She likes the audiobook style, and she does disappear for a while when she's listening to Akatar books, and I guess they are fairies having sex with each other. So congratulations to everybody who's liking those fantasy weird books. My wife is certainly into them. 949 sounds like he's into them too. Attaboy, 949. Got to get yours where you can. Always say that. Mark Williard is going to be joining us next. Mark Williard's doing some radio up in the Bay Area these days. He also just got married. Congratulations to Mark. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Mark Williard's going to be on the show talking some NFL at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. This update is presented by Allstate. Padres get an extra innings win last night in Arizona, 10-5 over the Diamondbacks. New Padre, Ramon Laureano, had a big night. Triple, a double, 3 ribbies last night in the game. ESPN has been making moves. They now own and operate NFL Network with plans to fully integrate it into ESPN's direct-to-consumer service. This does include NFL Red Zone and sticking in the NFL. Reports out of Foxborough's training camp are that Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel jumped in a scrum today to help break up a fight, ended up with a bloody cheek, and I'm positive that Mike Vrabel just loved the intensity out of his team. Drake May being quoted in ESPN today saying how much they are taking everything very, very seriously, and you love to see the fight in the players, and that starts with the head coach. Some people just know that you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first. For a quote today, you are in good hands with Allstate. It's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. And in fact, when I first met John Schaefer, he was running the board for a man named Mark Williard, who brought me down from San Luis Obispo down to San Diego, and how the world works. Mark Williard back on the radio with us today. Mark, how we doing, pal?
Well, I'm great. I just want you to know there's a little foreshadowing for you someday. When there are radio stations like this and they call you and they're like, so I used to be a student of Mark's and John used to be the producer, and I know everybody there. All it does is make you feel old. That's it. That's the only thing you're doing. You're just making me feel old.
Well, how about this? I was talking with Marshall here, who's kind of just getting started off in the radio world. And I was talking about the fact that John Schaefer, Jim Russell, and I, 5 years ago, we're all producers at the same time on various different sports stations. And this is one of them. And so there's a path forward in this world. It just takes a little time to get there. But Mark, you're one of the best to ever do it, man. I really do appreciate every single day being in this time slot. This was what you and Rich were doing for a while. Steve Hartman was doing for a while. Everybody was here, and I am honored to be able to do it now. But you are up in the Bay Area now, Willard and Dibbs on 95.7. And you guys obviously talk a lot of San Francisco 49ers. Steve Hartman, believe it or not, Mark, was on my show last week. And all he could do was talk crap about the 49ers and how bad they're going to be this year. What's the vibe up there in the Bay Area?
Well, can I ask what his premise was? What the Niners are going to suck because why?
It was Steve doing Steve stuff. He was like, if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt at all, the entire team is worthless and nobody knows how to play football except Christian McCaffrey.
Got it. Okay. So first of all, you literally started with the word if. So let me tell you this from someone who actually covers the 49ers, and I don't mean myself, but my good friend David Lombardi, whose entire world is covering 49er football, came on my show last week and said if there is one human who is standing out at 49ers camp as the strongest, best player in this camp, there are no questions that person is Christian McCaffrey. This is the NFL, and I could do if said person gets hurt, then blank will happen with every single football team that's about to play. So sure, he's not wrong. However, it's kind of, and Steve knows this, that I'll come after him. It's a lazy take because it's true with every quarterback and every great player in the league. If that person gets hurt, then the team is in trouble. So let's go on the more likely premise that Christian will play the majority of the games this year. And let me also add in that literally the last name Shanahan for years in the NFL was defined by the idea of being able to find running backs basically off the street, come in and help produce. If you understand all of the reasons why the Niners season went bad last year, you realize that it was a very multifaceted question. It was not just about Christian McCaffrey. That's a big piece. There were many others. I can't sit here and guarantee you that it's going to be a great team this year, but I can tell you that they have filled a number of the holes that existed last year. And then the biggest weapon they have that very few people talk about outside the market is that the biggest weapon is they're playing a fourth place schedule. And that to me is why they're a very healthy bet for double-digit wins this year.
I think so too. I really do. And obviously bringing back Robert Saleh, the defense was as much, if not a bigger problem than the offense was a year ago. I got high hopes for this team. I really do. But let's stick with Christian McCaffrey for a second. You say he's looking great in camp. And Lombardi said that as well. But is the usage going to be different for him this year? Is this going to be one of the situations where Kyle Shanahan steps up at the press conference and says, yeah, we're going to slow play with McCaffrey in a way? Or do you think they're going to actually try to reserve him a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to hear Kyle say that at a press conference, because Kyle, like many football coaches, refuses to kind of play scared of injury. Now, I think there's a middle ground there. 2 years ago, he had over 350 touches. Now, once upon a time back in Carolina, he had over 400. Now he's closing in about 30 years old, almost there. And so I'm sure the 49ers, now Garendo is hurt, but they like him. They drafted a running back. They've got some other people that I'm sure they're going to want to mix in. But at the same time, I think they will largely be unapologetic about the idea of using Christian McCaffrey. If he's their best player on offense in the NFL, you don't win games by holding your best player out. I think they would love for it to not always be 25 to 30 touches, but I think they're very comfortable with 20 to 25 because that's going to be what's necessary for their offense to play at their best.
Mark Williard joining us today, one of everyone's favorites down here in San Diego, working up in the Bay Area now. Mark, the most hated quarterback, it seems like, in all of football, Brock Purdy. For whatever reason, people just love to talk crap about him. But he's had quite the offseason, got married maybe during the regular season last year. I don't remember, had a kid. Brock Purdy heading into this year, are expectations reasonable that he is back to form of 2 years ago rather than what we looked at last year?
Yeah, no question. No question that in theory, considering what's going on around him and now solidified as a very highly paid quarterback, now he's going to have to do what those players do and kind of carry an offense. Now, flashback to the Super Bowl and understand that even if you're the best quarterback in the world, and by the Super Bowl, I mean this most recent one, Chiefs and Eagles, you can be Patrick Mahomes. If you're running for your life, you're not going to be very good. So I don't really care who you are. And so there was a little bit too much of that for the 49ers last year. They had some issues on the offensive line, some injuries there. And one of the major questions in the offseason is, did they do enough to shore that up? They seem to feel more comfortable about it inside the building than people do outside. But we'll see. That's going to be one of the big questions. But with the receiving core issues, the offensive line question marks, if you start to get an affirmative answer on any of those, I think you're going to have a wonderful season from Brock Purdy. He looks very good in camp, but then again, that's just camp. And who knows how good the defense is that he's going against, So, that's why there's always that question about when the red light comes on, how are you going to look? And even though their schedule's kind of easy, their very first game is at Seattle, which is never easy. And so they're going to have to come out of the gate and look at their best right away. But yeah, I expect good things from Brock Purdy. I don't know if he'll be as tight as he was 2 years ago, but I expect it to look a little bit more like that than it did last year.
Let's stick with the NFC West for a second, because the Rams have shot up people's leaderboard as a potential dark horse Super Bowl team this year with the acquisition of Devontae Adams. But we get the news today that Matthew Stafford is dealing with an aggravated disc in his back from Ian Rappaport. The Rams without Matthew Stafford are what?
Not a threat. Not a threat. And I mean, that goes back to the original thing I said today, sort of responding to what Steve said to you a few days ago. Every NFL team has a handful of players, namely the quarterbacks, that if they're not there and ready to go, that's it. That's a wrap. And you just kind of have to deal with that. To sort of borrow an example from another sport, the Golden State Warriors are into round 2 and they're up 1-0 on the road and feeling good. And then Steph Curry left and seen. Ball game over. You never win again. That's how sports is. And it's super frustrating sometimes, but that's just kind of how I see it. And the Rams without Matthew Stafford, assuming that they would turn to Jimmy Garoppolo. And I know that our city knows that, once upon a time, you can win football games with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think they'd be just not a threat to win a game here or there, but I don't think they'd be a threat to win a division or do anything in the playoffs. That's not how Garoppolo has looked for a number of years now. So the Rams, that's their biggest question right now. Outside of that, I think they fit in with that whole division. The whole division has question marks, but I also don't see any of the 4 teams as just like an awful doormat 4 or 5 win team. Every single one of them are going to sort of pose a week by week threat if they're healthy.
I think so too, man. Switching over to baseball, what the hell is going on with the San Francisco Giants? Because Rafael Devers trade makes huge blockbuster waves throughout all of Major League Baseball. Everyone thinking the Giants are for real. And then you go on a stretch where they lose just a bunch of games consecutively and almost fall out. And then quiet trade deadline. What is the vibe in the Bay Area right now about those San Francisco Giants?
Well, the vibe is that we're all taking our cues from the team itself. And so when you sell at the deadline and you signal that you're waving a white flag, we will act accordingly and just be like, all right, we're moving on. I do think that a lot of fans are still keeping one eye on. It's like, man, it's only the first week of August. Do we have to sort of just like move on to the 49ers now? We don't really want to do that yet. And they did just while you and I were sitting here talking, they completed a 4-2 road trip, which gets them back above 500. But my goodness, they've got a long way to go to get anybody feeling like they're back into a playoff race. And now they would have to do it without some of their best bullpen arms. So very, very disappointing that it's gone the way it has. And very difficult to figure out why. That's the one thing that I think is most concerning, and why Bob Melvin and certain coaches and the structure of the team now might suddenly be in question going forward. Buster Posey has only been doing this as the president for 1 year, and your first year in, sometimes you sit back, you look, you assess what you have, and then you make some new decisions going forward. And so it'll be interesting to see if they do that in the forthcoming off season. But on an individual basis, you mentioned Devers. Some of the things that they've done that quote unquote didn't work out, I would still support and do again. I'd still do the Devers trade. I'd still sign Williard, et cetera, et cetera. So I think they've got some pieces. They've just got to figure out how to get their internal messaging across so that they play better, consistent baseball.
Yeah, meanwhile, maybe the Padres are gearing up for a World Series run. That sure would be fun. Mark, I think some congratulations are in order. Just got married. Congrats. It looked like a beautiful wedding. Is the honeymoon inbound?
The honeymoon is already over, man. We went to Jamaica for a week, and it was the first time in my life. I want to just tell everybody there are 2 beautiful words in the English language that I had never experienced before, and I would like all of you to try. If you have this experience in life, do it. Those 2 words are all inclusive.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever get to do that in life, I'm 50. This is the first time I've done it my entire life. I never touched my wallet. We never left the resort. The sun kept shining. The beach was there. The pool was there. The drinks were there. The food was there. My God, that's life. So, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, my wife and I did an all-inclusive in Cabo, Los Cabos, for our honeymoon, and it sounds like the same story. It was just, I couldn't believe that the food was always just available, and that our guy was always...
People kept asking me, how's Jamaica? I'm like, I have no idea. We didn't see any of the island. I went to a hotel and never left.
Yep.
So that's what happened.
And that is kind of the best vacation for me. Just relax, turn the brain off for a week, and you're done. Mark, I appreciate you, man. It's always great to hear your voice, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Keep doing it, brother.
All right, Mark Williard up in the Bay Area now. 95.7 The Game. Williard and Dibs 2 to 6 every single day. If you're missing Mark's voice, he is one of the best to be doing it, man. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Quick break. Coming up next, the first time we've ever done this, Tyler is doing long shots today for us. That's next at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Always fun catching up with Mark. Glad he had some time to do that today before he gets on the air. It is San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We got Big Marsh on the mic helping out today, filling in for Sammy Long, who will be back tomorrow. Hey, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 right now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates do apply. All right, we do a little something every day at 1245 called Long Shots, where Sammy Long makes a daily fantasy sports lineup for you to take and do what you will with it. Sammy had a real hot month of May. He was on fire. We all made lots of money. It was fun. It was happy. It was great. July and August, not doing so hot so far. So today we are outsourcing this. Our buddy Tyler, who is on YouTube every single day with us, who DMs us all the time with some different betting angles. Tyler is in charge of long shots today. He has sent me the lineup. Big Marsh is going to read the lineup. We have explanations from Tyler. And I will say, this isn't just, throwing someone a bone. Tyler DM'd me earlier today with, I believe, 7 different lineups that he's had over the last couple of days that have hit. So Tyler is our man today. We are putting faith in him. And Marshall, let's not waste any more time. Let's smash that button.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, he's all big time now, huh? It's time for Sammy's Long Shots. Hold on. Can't talk until I say the important stuff. Long Shots is presented by Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Now, go.
And Marsh, you have a new nickname for Tyler. Is that right?
That is correct. We have Tyler, the Tickinator.
Tyler, the Tickinator, because he's submitting these tickets, baby. I like it a lot. Where's Tyler starting, Marsh?
All right, first up, Tyler, the Tickinator, is going with Asia Wilson over 9.5 rebounds.
Oh, well, Tyler just sent me a note saying she was removed from the board for rebounds, so just go with 13 rebounds and assists. There you go.
Asia Wilson, 13 rebounds and assists. For Tyler, the
more than that. She put up 16 and 14 over her last couple of games. Kayla Thornton, the Valkyries' top rebounder, is out for the season, so Asia Wilson can feast tonight. That is the first pick from Tyler. Asia Wilson, more than 13 rebounds and assists.
All right, next one is Ozzy Albies over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs.
I like it a lot. Let's see. 8 for 16 with 5 extra base hits and 4 ribbies in his career versus Jose Quintana, who is pitching against him today. See, Tyler's doing some research. I feel like Sammy just throws stuff out there. Tyler, you're our guy.
Tyler, the researcher.
Tyler, the researcher. I like it. What does he have coming up next?
So he has a player from the blue team up north, Shohei Ohtani, over 4 strikeouts on the bump today.
You know what? I dig it. I usually wouldn't, but I like it today, Tyler. Ohtani over 4 strikeouts. Currently, Cardinals lineup is 3 for 12 with 8 strikeouts versus Ohtani. So he has an opportunity to feast today. What's next?
And last but certainly not least, Nick Kurtz is over a half single for the day.
Ooh, a red demon to close it out. I like this a lot. Kurtz has been on fire since he got pulled up this year. He's a rookie for the Oakland, Sacramento, Las Vegas Athletics. And he has been an absolute stud since he got pulled up. Nick Kurtz is, he has hit safely in 18 of his last 20 games and is facing a pitcher making his Major League Baseball debut today. So Nick should have opportunity to have a good game.
So one more time, sports fans, Asia Wilson over the 13 for rebounds
and assists.
Ozzy Albies over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Shohei Ohtani from the blue team up north over 4 strikeouts on the bump today. And Nick Kurtz, the red demon, over half a single today.
That is a 11X lineup for you. So I put $20 in. That's going to win me 220 if Tyler is to be trusted, which I think he is. Tyler, the Tickinator.
Ticketnator or Tyler the Researcher.
We could. I like Tyler the Researcher better.
Yeah, that flows a little bit.
Tyler did his homework, man. That was some good stuff.
Shout out Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler, and hopefully you just made us and everybody else a lot of money going into tonight's game. All right, 619 corrected me on something I said earlier. Miller gave up the tying home run in the 8th inning. That is correct. It's been hours and hours and hours since I watched that baseball game, but it was a fun game. It went on way too long. Man, 11 innings is too much. Since the pitch clock got invented, that's the greatest thing ever for people who work in morning radio, which I still do because I do the show over on KGB every morning. Well, last night was a late night, man. And when we got down to the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th innings last night, It all started to blur together a little bit.
You know how so for Major League Baseball, they're doing the electronic strike zone. So NFL's doing the electronic 10 yards. Have you
I saw that.
Into that.
I saw that in the Hall of Fame game. And so it looked not great. I'll be honest. Like the graphics they had for it, it felt a little low budget.
Yeah,
and I'm like, the NFL is putting out something that's not great. And I'm assuming it's going to get fixed by the time the season rolls around. I love the idea behind it. I think it should be there.
I like the old, when they're measuring, bring out the sticks, and then the umpires looking at it.
I think the chain gang is still going to be there.
Yeah.
First of all, not to get on some moral high ground or anything, but those guys make money. The chain gang does. Like that is their job. And I think it's like $5,000 a game. It's good money.
Oh, wow.
And so the chain gang, first of all, we don't want them to be out of a job. We don't want anyone out of a job. You keep making money. But I think they're still going to be there because an NFL sideline is just going to look weird if it's not there. And so I think they're still there. They still have a job to do, but it's going to be more for looks than anything else. But the what do they call it? Is it the Eagle Cam, the Sky Cam, whatever they're calling it? It just looked a little off. And I'm assuming that's going to get fixed by the time week 1 rolls around in 28 days and however many hours we are away from the start of the NFL season. But it's the right idea because with what we just did, with making daily fantasy sports lineup, if something comes down to the amount of rushing yards someone has and you're off by a yard, I'm going to be bitching and moaning all day long.
Half yard.
Not to mention me, who is spending maybe $20 a day at most. That's on a bad day. Doing that. There's people who are gambling thousands of dollars every single day. There's people whose entire lives revolve around sports gambling.
Do you think it takes away from the emotion of that big defensive stop, bring out the change, and the umpire's looking at the ball placement and then says first down or they didn't get it?
No, and Sammy's not here, so I can say this without getting a huge groan. I think the Buffalo Bills would have been in the Super Bowl a year ago if they had this technology already invented. Josh Allen picked up the first down. They've gone back with that technology and have understood that Josh Allen picked up that first down, and that ended up changing the game entirely. So it's not a Chiefs hating thing. It is a legitimate what could have been thing. It is a legacy thing. Do the Bills have a better chance of beating the Eagles in the Super Bowl? I certainly think they do. I don't know if they actually get it done, but the Bills matched up better with the Eagles.
And speaking of the Bills, you had a chance to check out Hard Knocks last night.
I didn't watch it. I meant to. I didn't. I was caught up in the Padres game, and then it just got too late at night, but I'm going to definitely be going home and watching it today. Hard Knocks has fallen off for me over the last couple of years. I actually knew one of their executive producers for the Cleveland Browns series when Baker Mayfield was a rookie. And I thought that season was amazing.
They had the big O-line coach with the big beer belly.
That guy, and who was is it Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator,
yes,
who got he got in all the trouble with the Saints and Bountygate. Yeah. He was with that Browns team at the time, and Hugh Jackson looked like an idiot the entire season. I thought Baker Mayfield was incredibly likable at a time where the entire narrative about Baker Mayfield was that he was kind of a piece of garbage.
Right.
But that last season with the Browns was the last time I thought it was really, really good. I'm curious what it's like with the Bills.
Your favorite Hard Knocks? Mine's the first one with the Ravens. I think that was the best one.
My favorite one ever was Jameis Winston's year with the Bucks. There was the scene where he's walking around the cafeteria, knows every single person's name. Nice. Jameis Winston, another one of those guys who there might have been a narrative surrounding him, and then you see him. And he's like this happy, pleasant person.
Positive energy.
Who knows everybody, remembers everybody. That was one of my favorite seasons ever. But the coach for the Cleveland Browns doing the hut. There's never been a better moment in football TV.
Or Rex Ryan say, let's go get a bleep snack.
Yep. And Rex Ryan talking about feet and all the Rex Ryan stuff from that Jets season. Kind of uncomfortable, if you ask me, actually. He is a weird dude, man. I met Rex Ryan once. It was a weird night. I was in Miami covering what Super Bowl was that? That would have been Niners Chiefs the first time around when Jimmy Garoppolo lost.
And save those details for your Patreon.
No, I've told this story on air before. Rex Ryan was staying at a hotel that I was getting drinks in the lobby at 3 separate times over the course of 2 hours. Rex Ryan came down to the lobby to pick up DoorDash. So he had 3 separate orders come to the room while I was sitting down at the hotel bar. And I was only there for about 2.5, 3 hours.
Was he dressed like the guy from Jurassic Park with his flamingo t-shirt?
He was wearing like basketball shorts and a white t-shirt. And every time he walked by, I was like, is that freaking Rex Ryan going down to get Chipotle? KFC? What is Rex Ryan doing? A guy who has a ton of money who could go eat anywhere in Miami, ordering fast food to his hotel room. It was just bizarre. It's San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is coming up next. We got Jim Wexell coming up in hour number 2, who has been on the beat for the Pittsburgh Steelers for decades now. They are the most fascinating team for my money in the NFL right now. Let's get into it in hour 2. That's next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. This update is presented by Allstate. Padres get an extra innings win last night in Arizona, 10-5 over the D-backs. New Padre Ramon Laureano had a big night with a triple, a double, 3 ribbies, all in last night's game alone. Nestor Cortez on the mound tonight for the Padres in the rubber match at 6:40. Our first chance as Padres fans to get eyes on Nestor Cortez. Hopefully it goes better than JP Sears. ESPN has been making moves. They now own and operate NFL Network with plans to fully integrate it into ESPN's direct-to-consumer service. This includes NFL Red Zone, and in this flurry of moves by Mickey Mouse and the NFL Shield, NFL now owns 10% of ESPN. Not sure how the money worked out to make that happen. Sticking with the NFL, reports out of Foxborough's training camp are that Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel jumped in a scrum today to help break up a fight, ended up with a bloody cheek, and I am positive that Mike Vrabel loved the intensity from his team. Some people just know that you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You are in good hands with Allstate. Let's get our number 2 underway. All right, we got 1 hour left here on a Wednesday, and a very happy Wednesday to everybody out there. It is San Diego Sports 760. My name is Ben Fletcher. That is Big Marsh on the mic. He's filling in for Sammy for one more day. Sammy Long will be back tomorrow. If you want to text the show this hour, 70470, start your message with team. We should have some open time here coming up in about 10 minutes to read some texts, like this one from the 615. If Tyler's picks hit tonight for long shots, he's going to end up sitting in your chair, Fletch, and you're going to be the one who's going to be calling in as a guest, talking about how he got his start. Look, man, Tyler's been money. I'm going to put faith there because I have not been money. Sammy has not been money. Marsh, I hate to do this to you, but you were not money on Monday. So we're going to roll with Tyler today, see if his picks work out, and hopefully we're all making some money come tomorrow's show. It is San Diego Sports 760. Coming up at 1:30, Jim Wexell is going to be jumping on the show. Jim, if you've listened to any show I've been a part of over the last 6 years, you've heard Jim leading into NFL seasons. One of the more knowledgeable beat writers around the country, has been covering the Pittsburgh Steelers, has written books on Troy Polamalu and the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is a really historical tipping point for the franchise, I think, because Mike Tomlin's job is in danger this year. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, which is something I don't think any of us ever thought would happen. And the Steelers have a defense that's ready to go win a Super Bowl, but we have no idea what the team is going to look like this year.
Quick story about Polamalu. His son plays here locally in high school in San Diego. Yeah, one of the best multi-sport athletes in the city.
Does Troy live here still?
I think so, but I see him a lot when I'm announcing the games, when his son's team comes to play where I'm announcing, and he always lines up after the game. All the kids are there. He is so nice, approachable. Everyone, he takes a picture with everyone. And
how's the hair looking?
Oh, still awesome.
You wish you had that hair?
Oh, I miss my hair.
I wish I had that hair. Troy Polamalu. I feel like I could rock it. I know you could, Marshall. You're way cooler than me.
Oh, no, cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Yeah, man. All right. So let's get back to the Padres here for a second. Then we'll get to the big 3 because Nestor Cortez is starting tonight for the Pods. And we saw JP Sears, his debut with the Padres. And I believe JP Sears has now been optioned back to AAA. So that didn't work out. And the Padres have been pretty open. And Kevin Acee talked about this yesterday on the show, that Nestor Cortez and JP Sears are kind of in a competition right now for that final 5th starting rotation spot. Well, JP Sears just got optioned. So does that mean that Nestor Cortez have the spot? Does that mean Nestor Cortez is in competition with other people who we may not have a name for yet, or Randy Vasquez, who's in the minors right now? Like, what is Nestor Cortez's, or what are the Padres' plans for Nestor Cortez? Do we learn a lot about that tonight? I think we do. I think that this is his opportunity. He's been injured for a lot of this season, but he has potential to be really good. He's been good at times during his Major League Baseball career. Is Nestor Cortez tonight auditioning for a job, or does he already have the job? I think we're going to know a lot within 5 innings of him pitching tonight for the Padres in a rubber match against the Arizona Diamondbacks in a series you feel like you need to win if you're the Padres, who obviously have a little bit higher aspirations than the Diamondbacks this year, who sold off at the trade deadline. With that being said, I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see what Nestor Cortez has, just like I was excited to watch JP Sears, and that excitement faded after exactly 45 seconds of watching JP Sears pitch. So we'll see what goes down tonight out in Arizona. But right now it's time for the big 3 of hour number 2. Big Marsh, hit that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
If you want to watch the show, you can do so at Fletch and Sammy on X. I know X has been having some issues today, so sorry about that. And at San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube. You can subscribe there. That one stays live from noon all the way to 6 every single day. John and Jim take it over right after we get off the air. Big Marsh on the mic. Where are we going for hour number 2 to start?
All right, first up, sports fans. Gavin Williams almost pitched a no-no against the Mets until Juan Soto took him deep in the bottom of the 9th. You jinxed him.
I did. I said something during commercial break. I was like, Marshall, we got a no-hitter going. Flip over to the MLB Network. And he did. And then literally within, 35 seconds of us being on the MLB Network, home run.
Less than that.
Juan Soto ruined it for all of us, man. No-hitters are one of those things in sports where no matter who's pitching, no matter what team it is, maybe unless it's the Dodgers, I'm ready to watch it, and I'm ready to cheer for it. Perfect games. I remember I wasn't at the game. My baseball coach in high school was at Matt Cain's perfect game up in the Bay Area, and I can remember that one vividly of being one of the coolest moments ever. And then you had Galarraga's that got interrupted at first base because what's his name? Dumbass fat neck umpire.
Yes. Made it about himself, yes.
Made it about himself. Jim, what was that guy's name? Terrible umpire.
I'll look it up. Quick story about the no-nos. Well, whoever had Soto on Price Picks was like, "Oh, he finally got a hit or an RBI."
Yeah.
So somebody made some money.
Yeah, but it's still unfortunate.
Still unfortunate.
I love seeing a no-hitter, man. Bummer that one got ripped away from all of us sports fans. What's next, Marsh?
All right, coming up in second place, sports fans, NFL ESPN merger as well as WWE. They're going to do some of their premium live content as well.
Yeah, what was the news on the WWE? I know I saw they get rights to WrestleMania.
Yeah, so they're going to promote all of their stuff through ESPN starting next year, all their premium live events, and just a partnership with ESPN, Disney, and WWE.
That's crazy because I thought WWE and Netflix were merging together and going to be all streaming.
No, you're going to need ESPN that paid to consumer. You're going to need the stream for Netflix to watch Raw, and then you're going to need the stream for Peacock to watch SmackDown.
Is Disney Disney's going to end up owning everything? I'm pretty convinced about that. And Disney right now, they have taken over. So ESPN through Disney has taken over all of NFL Network and NFL Red Zone production costs, everything like that. And in exchange, the NFL now owns 10% of ESPN. I think I have that right. It's a lot of lawyery words going back and forth. Two big concerns. Don't mess with Red Zone. And I think they'll listen because that's all that's on social media today is people saying, don't mess with Red Zone. And the rumors that Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee are going to be co-hosting Red Zone, I think that's BS.
Yes.
Don't pay attention to those. Yeah. Don't mess with Red Zone by adding too many ads. And secondly, don't go on a firing spree of NFL Network talent. They're the best ones at covering the NFL. I love Fox's pregame show, but when I'm talking, like NFL Network has some of the best personalities in all of sports. Keep them the same.
Well, ESPN did something smart when they kept the Charles Barkley, the inside on TNT.
Right.
They're letting them stay the same. All the same workers are going to be there. So hopefully they'll do the same thing for the NFL Network.
Hopefully, man. And I also hope, like, not to get too inside things, but the staff over at NFL Network is great. Andrew Howard's a dude that I've worked back and forth with for years. He's one of their coordinators. You'll never hear that name outside of something like this, but he's awesome. You don't need to go making this all ESPN and corporate and making it very Disney. NFL Network had a pretty great culture. Hopefully that stays intact. And like right now, we're watching the NFL Network on TV. Nothing looks different at the outset. I don't know when all of this goes into effect, but hopefully they don't change it too much because I personally like having a little bit of options when I'm getting ready for my Sundays. I don't need everything to look like ESPN, which is very buttoned up and strange. ESPN's really gone downhill.
Absolutely.
It is San Diego Sports 760. We're not being bought by ESPN anytime soon. Definitely not after that. So
and maybe we should write a letter to Disney and tell them to start lowering those prices to Disneyland. But coming in third, last but not least, sports fans, Mike Vrabel, the former linebacker for the Patriots, head coach for the Patriots, breaks up a fight in training camp and has a bloody cheek. And I think he just loved he's a football guy. So I think he loved that. Wiped it off and kept going.
I think Mike Vrabel adored this moment. I think that this is making his job as head coach, like he's pulling in the right direction. Drake May actually had quotes about this. He said, quote, "That's what we're trying to build, and it starts with the head coach. Intensity, bringing it every day, taking no crap when we're out there on the field." This was a fight between some Patriots players and some Washington Commanders players as they're doing a joint practice. And one of the Patriots rookies was actually the one who started all this off. And Mike Vrabel jumped right into the middle of it. Ended up with a bloody cheek, was then seen on the sideline holding an ice pack. I promise you there was a smile under that ice pack. I promise you Mike Vrabel was like, this is the Patriots way.
I wonder if Dan Quinn was like, hey, come on, bring that to me, bro. Bring that to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Dan Quinn's also a little bit of a madman. I think Dan Campbell, absolute madman.
I wouldn't mess with Dan Campbell.
No. But this is cool, man. This is what you want to hear. Like, you don't hear about this in spring training.
It makes you want to go to war. If your coach is jumping in it, hey, I played football. Hey, let's go.
Now, your kid plays football, right, Marshall?
Yes.
What's it, Tank? Is that his name?
Tank. He plays linebacker and running back.
Do you ever talk with him about fighting on the field?
I just tell him don't take no stuff and always be the hammer, not the nail. Be the hammer, not the nail.
God, you're a cool dad, Marshall.
I'll do my best, man.
It
takes a village.
When there is a skirmish starting to break out,
I let the coaches do it. Usually I'm in the booth anyway, announcing or in the stands. But yeah, I tell them don't, take up for your teammates. Don't start it, but finish it, and always be the hammer, not the nail.
That's the right mentality to have. I think that's very much Mike Vrabel as well. You should be the head coach of the Patriots, Marshall.
I'll talk to Robert Kraft and send him a letter.
While we have a couple seconds here, why is your face in Times Square?
So I'm part of, and
here, pull that bed music down.
Okay. So it's called Diamonds in the Sand. It's going to be a TV show that's released on Sean Merriman's Lights Out Sports Network, and Coach Charles James of the PPR in the game, James Gang, he coordinated all this to share the stories of the history of San Diego football, and it's going to be following some families and some coaches in San Diego who are part of the youth football. So it's going to be
is it a reality show or is it?
So it's like a reality, similar to Friday Night Tanks, but more on a positive side. They're not going to show the negative fights with the parents. It's all about a positive movement, showing the history of San Diego sports in terms of football, from youth to high school, and the stories of telling all the great, Heisman Trophy winners that come from a certain community within San Diego. And then also Coach Preston is going to be with the SD Bolts. Coach Shoup is out there with Oceanside and the youth football or Pop Warner football. And then we have Ron and Alicia Evans with their son LaRon, and then Coach Charles James is doing it. It's going to be special. There are red carpet premieres tomorrow night, and we just got on Times Square 9:00 last night. It's going to run 24 hours, 4 times an hour. So I'm just thankful for that.
We were sitting here, and Marshall was like, "Hey, my face is up in Times Square right now." I was like, "What do you mean Times Square?"
Yeah.
Like New York Times Square. Big Marsh on the mic.
City. Right.
He's up on a billboard in Times Square right now, like next to Addison Rae or something.
And I'm here with you, brother. Let's go.
That's awesome, man. Well, what's the name of the show one more time?
Diamonds in the Sand. Going to be globally released through Sean Merriman's Lights Out Sports Network.
We got to get Sean on the show. Maybe talk about him with that.
I'll definitely try.
That's cool, man. Good for you, Marsh. Good for Sean. And that is awesome highlighting. Think about Helix High. How many guys just came out of there, right? Reggie Bush, Alex Smith.
Lincoln High School, Marcus Allen, Terrell Davis, Super Bowl MVPs, Heisman Trophy winners, Patrick Henry, Ricky Williams, Rashawn Salam.
Well, there's a laundry list.
Yes.
This is very, very cool. I'm glad that's being highlighted. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Jim Wexell coming up in about 15 minutes. Coming up next, let's get back to the Padres a little bit because they got a rubber match with Arizona tonight. New pitcher on the mound for the Padres. And there's a new bat in the Padres lineup who is making a massive impact right away. We'll talk about it coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, who challenged us, or who just made learning fun. Now is your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Today's teacher of the day is Karen Texan, who teaches at San Elijo Elementary School in San Marcos. People told us that Karen spends her free time prepping materials, organizing resources, or simply offering emotional support for students. Her selfless actions ensure learning spaces are enriched, teachers feel valued, and students thrive in a nurturing environment. Congrats to Karen Texan. You're in the running to win $5,000 for your classroom. Nominate your favorite teacher today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Can I give a quick shout out to two teachers from Madison Warhawks High School, Mrs. Peters and Mrs. Smith, two of the most amazing administrators at Madison.
Someone go nominate them.
Shout out to them. They do an amazing job with the kids.
Sounds like they deserve to win $5,000.
I'll definitely look to see if someone can nominate them.
Marshall, get on the iHeartRadio.com/teachers. You got some nominating to do.
I sure will. I'm on that right after this.
And if you want to nominate Mrs. Fletcher too, she's a teacher out at Lakeside Elementary.
Shout out to Mrs. Fletcher at Lakeside. It's all about the kids. Big Marsh loves the kids.
Big Marsh does indeed. Hey, we were talking about it literally an hour ago, Marshall, about Fernando Tatis Jr. and the fan perception of him this year. Kevin Acee must have been hearing our words and decided, you know what? I'm going to write a 2,500 word essay on Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm sure Kevin had this one planned. I'm sure Kevin had this one ready to go. But it is fascinating. It just got posted at San Diego Union Tribune. I'm about halfway through, but it's essentially Fernando Tatis Jr. is just different this year. He's not necessarily worse. And that's a pretty easy way to say he's not hitting more home runs. But that's the problem. And that's what fans are having an issue with this year, is that Fernando Tatis Jr. isn't making the crazy flashy plays that he did just a couple years ago when he was hitting 40 home runs. It felt like rolling out of bed in seasons where he was healthy. So let's try to put this in perspective. And I might get butchered for this one, but I'm going to try it out anyways. Patrick Mahomes got panned a year ago that his numbers were down. The offense was down for the Kansas City Chiefs, but all they did was go out and win. I don't remember how many games, but they ended up in the postseason as number 1 seed. So Patrick Mahomes, who I think we all can agree is the best quarterback walking today, his numbers were down last year because defenses found a way to play him a little bit differently. Defenses took away some of his biggest assets, so he took what he could a year ago. And the Chiefs still won a ton of games, ended up in a Super Bowl, got embarrassed in the Super Bowl, but Patrick Mahomes, everyone was saying, oh, he had a down year. I don't think that's necessarily true because a quarterback's number one job is to go out and win football games, and that's exactly what he did. Fernando Tatis Jr. has already set a career high in walks in a season. He's playing different. He's not playing worse, I don't think. He says, quote, I'm facing my demons. Sometimes I want to get out there and say F it and try to make something happen, but then I say, no, it's not working that way. Teams are pitching him different, and when there are opportunities for him with runners on base to make something big happen, they're not pitching to him at all. So Fernando Tatis Jr., who is an absolute weapon for the Padres, teams catch up to that. There's a lot of smart people on the other side too, and teams are pitching him different this year. He's going to adjust. I'm sure that the next couple of months are going to be better for Fernando, but the numbers really haven't been that bad. In fact, some of them are really, really impressive. In Kevin's article, talks about the career high in walks, talks about a diminished strikeout rate, career low 18.1%. But the downside of it is it's also a career low in home run rate. He's at like 1 per every 25 at-bats, which is a career low. He's already set the career high with walks. He has a 364 on base percentage, which is 12th best in the National League. He's got a 434 slugging percentage, which is 32nd in the National League. And even after the 0 for 6 last night, he's on base plus slugging is at 408 in 32 games since June 29th. That's 5th best in the National League. And his 403 slugging percentage is 44th. So Fernando is having to, because of the adjustments that pitchers have made against him, he's having to adjust as well. And that's asking a lot out of a young player, first and foremost. That's asking even more out of Fernando Tatis Jr., who plays on energy and on vibes. I actually, watching Fernando Tatis Jr., I'm kind of impressed with what he's done this season because he's had to turn down some of that. Fernando Tatis Jr. is the man. Fernando Tatis Jr. hits home runs and makes the exciting plays. He's had to become a smarter baseball player this year, and that's only going to help him in the future.
What was that quote again you said about that AC did about Tatis?
This is what Fernando Tatis Jr. said.
Okay.
Let me get back to it. He said, I'm facing my demons. Sometimes I get out there and say F it and I try to make something happen, but then I say, no, it's not working that way.
First thing that came to my mind was Clubber Lang. I got some more to give. I got a lot of more.
That's a good one, man. Yeah, I think Fernando's just having to learn how to play baseball differently. And for someone who's played literally since he was 8-year-old under his dad's tutelage of balls to the wall, go, 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 he's having to be patient for the first time in his career. And that's got to be tricky for him to do.
He's going to grow through what he's going through. You got to grow through what you go through. So I think he'll be fine. It's going to make him a better man and a better player in the long run, having some adversity to overcome it instead of being always told you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. Some adversity, he's going to handle it and keep going forward in a positive direction.
Hopefully, and hopefully he earns that statue contract that they gave him. Look, through a month of this season, we were all saying Fernando Tatis Jr., this is his year to win National League MVP because he had the numbers to back it up. And then teams adjusted, and it's been tough. He went through a real bad stretch. But since June, Fernando Tatis Jr. is playing some pretty good ball outside of last night's 0-for-6. All right, take a quick break. Coming up next, we got Jim Wexell on the line, who covers the Steelers out in Pittsburgh. Huge group of Steelers fans here in San Diego. This is one you want to listen to. That's next, live on the iHeartRadio app. This update is presented by Mattress Firm. We're going to start off with the Padres here. They did win in extra innings last night, 10-5 over the D-backs. New Padre Ramon Laureano had a big night with a triple, a double, 3 ribbies in last night's game. Nestor Cortez going to be on the mound today for a rubber match at 6:40 tonight. Our first look at Nestor Cortez. And then the Pods are back in San Diego for a weekend series with the Red Sox. ESPN making some moves. They now own and operate NFL Network with plans to fully integrate it into ESPN's direct-to-consumer service, including NFL Red Zone. We'll see how different that looks this year. The NFL in this deal acquired 10% worth of ESPN. Sticking in the NFL, reports out of Foxborough's training camp are that Mike Vrabel jumped into a scrum today in a joint practice with the Washington Commanders to help break up a fight and ended up with a bloody cheek. Mike Vrabel is a madman. If you need better sleep this Labor Day weekend, you can upgrade to premium sleep at Mattress Firm's best sale of the year. Let their sleep experts match you with the perfect bed and get the rest you deserve. They make sleep easy. Shop Mattress Firm's best sale of the year this Labor Day weekend. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will be taking over then. We got Big Marsh on the mic running the board today. Sammy Long will be back tomorrow. And right now we welcome into the show Jim Wexell, who has been out in Pittsburgh covering the Steelers for decades now at this point. Has some great books, one on Troy Polamalu. Jim, it's great to hear from you, man. If I'm hearing from Jim Wexell, that means NFL season is almost here.
Yeah, I'm driving home from practice right now on my way to the Wilco show tonight. So it's a great time. Yes, indeed.
I believe we're around 28 days until the start of this NFL season. And the Steelers are one of the more fascinating teams in the entire league this year, simply because of one move. It's basically the same team plus Aaron Rodgers. How has he worked out so far in training camp? And what do your eyes tell you when it looks to Aaron Rodgers, about his age, about his willingness to be fully bought into play? What are your feelings on Aaron Rodgers heading into this year?
I like what I see, what I hear. And, you know, what I'm hearing is, I believe, the truth from these receivers, these linemen who are just so enthusiastic about, you know, people wonder whether Rodgers will buy in. I don't know if he's buying in or if he's running the whole thing and with a chip on his shoulder to kind of wipe away the last 2 years with the Jets. And I see the physical tools still there. He doesn't move like a typical 41-year-old quarterback. I watched Kirk Cousins last year, was an absolute statue. Aaron is not a statue. So, yeah, he's not as mobile as he once was, but he's still mobile. And he's practicing. He's getting so many reps. Mike Tomlin watches out for his older veterans, but I think Rodgers has had only one day off. He gets a lot of reps. He wants a lot of reps. He's always chatting with the young receivers. He knows he needs a second receiver opposite Metcalf. So in the meantime, Metcalf gets about 100 targets a day. If you're in a fantasy league, you know Metcalf is a guy to he's Rodgers' roommate here at St. Vincent. The coach has gone out of the way, and he's good at this, establishing an environment for Rodgers to not just buy in, but to take over. And there's a lot of pride with Aaron Rodgers. And don't be shocked if he really comes out and puts together a really good season. I don't want to say great, but a really good season.
At Jim Wexell on X, you can find him there. Author of 2024 release Pittsburgh Steelers and Illustrated Timeline, and others at jimwexell.com. You can find him there. The Aaron Rodgers thing is fascinating to me because you will see online, Jim, and I've seen it, footage out of training camp where people are trying to say Aaron Rodgers looks like a shell of himself. He looks slow, but I'll always trust guys like you who have eyes on and who could talk about it. And after years of getting to know you now, Jim, I know you're not going to BS me. So let's talk about DK Metcalf and George Pickens, because George Pickens leaving the Steelers this year, how much of a benefit do you think that was? Mike Tomlin saying, yeah, well, I don't know that we need George Pickens in the locker room. And was he a little bit of a cancer?
Well, yeah, he was. I hate to use the word cancer because he was good natured, just silly and unfocused and late. And are we sure he's going to be where he needs to be? Those are questions Aaron Rodgers doesn't like. And, you know, Metcalf is known for having a sharp a few sharp words for quarterbacks and teammates that don't do what they're supposed to do. If Metcalf's somewhat of a locker room cancer because he wants it too badly, Pickens is the opposite. So I would have loved to have covered George Pickens opposite DK Metcalf with Aaron Rodgers throwing to either one of them. But I didn't coach him last year. I don't know the depths of the issues. When Mike Tomlin at the end of the year said, George Pickens has to grow up and he has to grow up in a hurry. It might have been the game that he was late to, the Christmas Day game against the Chiefs. He was late showing up for that, and they wanted to go over a lot of things with him, and he wasn't there. He still played. Tomlin ripped him after, and that's not Tomlin's style. He'll rip you in the locker room behind closed doors, but not publicly. And that's why a lot of the fans don't like him. They think he's too easy on these guys because he won't rip them publicly. But he ripped Pickens. So it must have been a deep problem. And only a coach can feel and understand why it's addition by subtraction. Me, I wanted to see those two circus freaks on the opposite sides of each other with Darnell Washington in the middle at 6'7". But so there must have been good reason to let him go.
Yeah, when I think about the Steelers, Jim, I think about the running back position. Obviously, you can go all the way back to Jerome Bettis, but more recently, Le'Veon Bell was the best running back in the league when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the James Connors years, he was pretty damn good too. Najee Harris quietly just ran for 1,000 yards every year he was a Pittsburgh Steeler. This year, that room is up in question a little bit. Do they love Jaylen Warren enough for him to be that number one guy? Or is it going to be a combination of Jaylen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, Trey Sermon, Caleb Johnson? Is it going to be a little bit of everybody?
Well, I don't know if they love Jaylen because they paid no attention to me as I was ripping Najee Harris and saying Jaylen Warren's the better back. What are you doing here? So I harped on that for a couple of years. And so I don't know that they're listening to me. They're paying him more than Najee's making. And the Steelers didn't draft a number one first rounder to take his place. They've got Caleb Johnson. I don't want to say Caleb's disappointing. His comp by the head coach is Le'Veon Bell, but he can't catch like Le'Veon. Nobody could. And he's very, let's just say below average as a pass blocker at this point. So that doesn't inspire confidence to get him on the field. He does cut back in this outside zone, was made for him, what the Steelers are trying to do with their offensive line. And Caleb Johnson was made for that at Iowa. And you see a couple cutbacks where the whole side's open. He sees it. He's gone. That's enticing. But I don't know how much he's going to play because of his lack of pass blocking skills that don't inspire a coach who needs a 41-year-old quarterback protected.
Right. Jalen Ramsey in a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey has to be a little bit weird. Is he looking pretty good in camp?
No offense to TJ Watt, because a guy like that is working on things. He's also going against last year's first round pick who was injured for the entire year, Troy Fautano, a right tackle with immense promise. TJ is not, he's not going all out. Therefore, Jalen Ramsey has been the best player on the field.
Wow.
On both sides of the ball. Jalen Ramsey's unreal. It's about a third practice he's missed in a row. We believe was something minor. But he is taken over the Charles Woodson role, who he calls Charles Woodson one of his idols. The fact that he loved to play free safety, nickel, outside, whatever you need. I am the guy. I am your guy. He stepped in and is Deshaun Elliott's the verbal leader still, but he's only 2 years involved in this team. So Jalen Ramsey is a leader, but it's only his first year, so he's not a real vocal leader. But he's just an immense talent, and everybody sees it. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers' first pass of camp was intercepted by Patrick Queen. Apparently, it's because of a disguise by Jalen Ramsey. So Jalen Ramsey, if the Steelers are grabbing Aaron Rodgers from that 2010 Packers team that beat the Steelers in their last Super Bowl appearance, they've taken Charles Woodson from that team and named him Jalen Ramsey.
Wow.
So the secondary should
I was
Yeah,
not
go ahead.
expecting that, Jim. I'll be honest. I thought Jalen Ramsey looked like he may have lost a step a year ago in Miami. That's good to hear that he is kind of the guy out in Pittsburgh on the defensive side. Real quick before we let you go, Jim, I'm curious your thoughts on Mike Tomlin. You've obviously covered most, if not all, of Mike Tomlin's career as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been there forever. We all know the stats. Never has a lower than 500 season. But Mike Tomlin's job security, where is it at right now heading into this year?
Oh, his job is secure. There's no doubt about it. He can afford a 3-13 season, but I tell you, this defense I think, has a chance to be the best defense in the NFL. That gives Aaron Rodgers time to get cranked up, gives the line time, gives the running game. So this defense is too good for that. I'm a Mike Tomlin fan. It rubs a lot of people around here the wrong way. They don't believe that their team should go 8 years without a playoff win. But I defy them to tell me which of those 8 teams was supposed to win. Was it with old man arm shot Ben Roethlisberger? Was it with Mason Rudolph, Russell Wilson? Those teams weren't that good. And so this team could break that spell if Rodgers stays healthy.
So why do you think fans are ready to see Mike Tomlin shipped out? Obviously, he's been, every time the player polls come out, he is the number 1 favorite coach by the players in the NFL. But fans are always ready to just see him leave for whatever reason. What do you think that is?
They believe that he coddles the players, thus they vote for him. They think he's too easy. He's a nice guy, that he's more of a cheerleader on the sideline instead of a coach. A lot of things. So he hasn't won a playoff game in 8 years. That really bothers people who are counting. I just think they don't like Tomlin first. They think he inherited Bill Cowher's Super Bowl team, and that's what he won with. So they dismissed that in 2008. I like him. I'm actually getting tired of defending him around here. I just usually keep my mouth shut. And he'll end up this year, I think, 11 wins, maybe even 12 wins.
At Jim Wexell on X, you can find him there, jimwexell.com for his books. Highly, highly recommend reading some of his work, especially the Troy Polamalu book, who has San Diego ties, obviously. Jim, you're the best, man. We'll check in during the NFL season at some point. Thank you for your time.
Hey, appreciate you, Ben. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
All right, sounds good. jimwexell.com for some of his information. If you care about the history of football, one of the best historians in all of football right there, Jim Wexell. We'll take our final break of the day, and coming up next, I want to hear more about Marshall's reality show. He's about to be a Real Housewife of San Diego, it sounds like. Gonna be some good stuff coming up. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. For a final time here today, Ben Fletcher with you till 2. Big Marsh on the mic. Thank you for filling in the last few days, man. We really appreciate you. Sammy Long will be back tomorrow. Just for, S's and giggles, Shohei Ohtani is pitching currently for the Dodgers. He did give up a run. He also has 5 strikeouts. So leg 1 of Tyler's long shots is in the book, and it's coming up all us so far. We'll see how the rest of his lineup does later today. But if Tyler wins this, we're going to have a serious conversation with Sammy coming up tomorrow, because that'd be pretty embarrassing for your segment.
Tyler, the researcher,
to completely take this thing over. But Tyler, good work so far, pal. We'll see how the rest of it goes. He still has Ozzy Albies, who needs 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Asia Wilson for more than 13 rebounds and assists tonight. And then Nick Kurtz, the fantastic rookie for the A's, to have 1 single. That's all you need. So we'll see if Tyler's long shots pay dividends. Marshall, your face is on Times Square. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but the picture is really cool. It's also on your Instagram. What's your Instagram account?
Marsh on the mic.
Marsh on the mic. Pretty easy for everyone. That's all we call him here. Marsh on the mic. But explain one more time what this TV show is that you're about to be a part of.
So it's called Diamonds in the Sand. And basically what it is telling this, sharing a part of the story about San Diego football from youth to high school and all the big time names that came out of San Diego that achieved a high level of success. And it's also going to be following a few, 2 coaches and a family, similar to Friday Night Tykes, but more on the positive vibes of, the impact of going through the motions with youth football and how San Diego is a hotbed of football talent for years.
That's so cool, man. That is fantastic. We've all known that for a long time. San Diego high school football with the Cathedral Catholics, with Lincoln, with Helix High has been just dominant at the national landscape. San Diego high school football is some of the best in the world. And the fact that this is going to shine some light on that is very, very, very cool.
Definitely. So we're having a red carpet premiere. It's going to be released on Lights Out Sports TV. So we want to shout out Sean Merriman for the vision of seeing our vision and allowing us. It's going to be released globally. Our cast, actually, Coach Charles James, PPR from the PPR fame and Hall of Fame coach from San Diego High School out here in San Diego, is the one who kicked this all off. We have Alicia Evans, Ron Evans, LaRon Evans, Coach Shoup out in Oceanside, and Coach Preston for the San Diego Bolts. Myself, I'll be narrating it, also being a part of it as well, following some of these families and just sharing a story, man. It's a lot of stuff we get overlooked because we know where we're at in terms of LA and San Diego, but in the small knit community, all these Heisman Trophy winners come out of a certain part of the neighborhood of San Diego County. We have something to say. So.
You're narrating it?
Yes.
You're Liev Schreiber from Hard Knocks?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I can't wait for this TV show.
Yes.
That's so cool, dude. Congratulations
release.
to you. Congratulations to Sean. The name of the show one more time.
Diamonds in the Sand. And this is all the vision from Coach Charles James. He's the one that had the idea. He put us all together. Great chemistry. The cast is all about we, not me. And that's why it's flowing. Our producer, John Shaw, is also making it happen. Donovan McGraw and Gio is part of our videographer as well. So we just want to put something, a positive light to youth football, high school football, and the history of football in San Diego to the world.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait for it. It's coming out soon. Diamonds in the Sand. Big Marsh on the mic going to be narrating it. Marshall's going to be bigger than all of us. That's what's going to happen here. And that's
happy
okay.
to be here, man. And I'm just thank you again for serving with you. I have a quote for all this, the sports fans out there. I'm all about positive vibes and energy because, you got to be positive. Life's going to throw stuff at you. But one of my favorite quotes is believe you can, and you're already halfway there.
Already halfway there. Well, it seems like the NFL is already halfway to taking over every media outlet in the world. While we've been talking, they now have ownership stake in CBS. I don't know what the NFL is doing. This is interesting. So 10% of ESPN is now owned by the NFL. NFL, through their partnership with Skydance, who owns Paramount Global, now also has a stake in CBS. Well, 2 of the biggest coverers, I think that's the right word for this, of the NFL are ESPN and CBS. And now ESPN taking ownership in it. It makes me nervous, man, because what happens when there is a negative story about ESPN or about the NFL, and all of a sudden ESPN and CBS, who a lot of people, the first thing they would do is open up the app to go to ESPN or CBS Sports. Is there going to be a spin on this? I know, of course, Bob Iger comes out and says, of course, ESPN's journalistic integrity is going to be the first thing. BS, dude. Your boss is now Roger Goodell and the ownership groups of the NFL. This makes me nervous.
Me too. I think a lot of people are not going to like it, and they're going to go somewhere else and want it because they're not going to want the same old hot topic screaming and yelling. And like you said, McAfee on the Red Zone, or even them doing a Major League Baseball Red Zone channel. Like, leave stuff alone. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And trying to monopolize all the sports, man, it's going to turn a lot of people off.
Do me a favor and don't read the ESPN release on this one, because it is very much self-congratulatory, pats on the back. Wall Street Journal has a great article on this, and they are not affiliated with CBS or ESPN. So go take a look at that. It kind of details out, like stuff Marshall just said. Now ESPN has the availability to go do red zone broadcasts of baseball, basketball, stuff like that. I don't know, man. It makes me a little nervous is all. Maybe that's not the right way to look at this. Maybe this is going to be a great thing. Maybe ESPN's going to make it easier. But the NFL Network was already easy.
Well, one thing I would hope they do is a red zone channel for college football.
That'd be
definitely
sick.
will sign up for that. Anything else, negative.
Take that in a heartbeat. We'll see how this all works out, man. But is that just going to be a bunch of SEC stuff?
You already know they are, because they cover SEC. CBS doesn't have it anymore.
I don't know, man. This makes me a little weary.
Speaking of SEC, they started a new reality show like Hard Knocks. It's on Netflix. Came out yesterday as well.
I saw that. And then the Aztecs actually on their website have a little Hard Knock style show going on right now that I know John Schaefer is involved with a little bit. So check all that out, man. This is the content mecca. We have everything at our fingertips in any moment of the day. Speaking of John Schaefer, he's coming up next alongside Jim Russell, alongside Brent Sperry. John and Jim are next. We're out of here. Sammy is back tomorrow. I got faith in Tyler. This thing's going to hit.
Tyler the researcher.
Tyler the researcher is making us all some money. I like this a lot. Sammy Long back tomorrow. Ben Fletcher with you. We're out. John and Jim next. Have a great day, everybody.